Hello and welcome to Event Trends by Eventify. I am your host, Kevin Rosenquist. This is part of the Event App Playbook. One topic, one insight, one thing that makes your event app sharper and your next event stronger. Let's talk about engagement. But before we go anywhere, I want to challenge how most planners think about it. Because most of us treat engagement like a content problem. Better speakers, tighter agenda, more networking time. And look, those things do matter. But they don't explain why two events with almost identical programs can feel completely different. One has energy, people are moving, talking, buying in, and the other feels like everyone's just wanting to leave. The difference isn't the content, it's the psychology underneath it. There are really only 5 psychological levers that drive how people behave at events. And every single engagement feature in your event app, every one is just a different way to pull on one of those levers. Once you see it that way, the tactics stop feeling like a list of features. They start feeling like a system. So, let's go through them. The first lever is variable reward. You know why people don't put their phones down? It's not because the content is always good. It's because sometimes it is. That unpredictability, that maybe the next scroll will be interesting, is what the brain can't resist. It's the same reason casinos work, and it's the same reason leaderboards work at events. When you reward attendees with points and badges for visiting exhibitors, attending sessions, or connecting with people, you're not just making things fun. You're plugging into a reward loop that's genuinely hard to ignore. The attendee isn't thinking, I should visit booth 14. They're thinking, I'm 12 points behind the person above me. The booth visit is a side effect. That's the commercial angle your sponsors should care about. Booth traffic doesn't happen by accident. You build it into the mechanics. Scavenger hunts run on the same thing. Every checkpoint is a little hit of reward. And if you want to steer traffic to a specific area, like a sponsor zone that's underperforming or a session that needs more bodies, you just put a checkpoint there. Missions let you get even more precise. You can push a targeted action to specific attendees in real time. A sponsor lagging on booth traffic at noon on day 2? Push a mission. Done. One thing worth saying, this lever has a ceiling. Over-engineer the gamification or make the rewards feel pointless, and the whole thing collapses. The mechanic has to feel fair. The prize has to be worth chasing. That calibration is yours to get right. The second lever is belonging. People are tribal. We're wired to look for signals that we're part of something, that we matter to a group. Events are one of the few environments left where you can actually manufacture that feeling at scale, and your app is the infrastructure that makes it happen. Social walls are the most visible piece of this. When an attendee posts about your event and sees it show up on a shared display in front of the room, 2 things happen at once. They feel recognized, and they feel like they're part of the story. That's a powerful combination. It also means every post is reaching audiences you don't own. Authentic content coming from real people. That's earned media, not paid. But the trap is assuming it happens on its own, because it doesn't. Without a clear incentive and a visible display that actually rewards participation, most people won't bother. Build the mechanic in from day one. Networking games work the same way. 2 truths and a lie. Human bingo. A well-run icebreaker. These aren't just fun, they create shared experience. And shared experience is the fastest route to group belonging. Attendees who go through something together bond in a way that a cocktail hour almost never replicates. That bond is what brings them back next year. Social impact challenges land here too. Give a group of attendees a shared goal like a sustainability challenge or a community initiative, and they're suddenly doing something together. That feeling attaches to your event brand, not just the cause, your brand. The third lever is autonomy. Here's a consistent finding across decades of research into human motivation. People disengage when they feel controlled and lean in when they feel like they're making real choices. At events, the enemy of autonomy is the generic experience, a one-size program, content that isn't relevant to any particular person, a networking floor where you're on your own. AI-powered matchmaking tackles the networking layer. A room of 500 people is genuinely overwhelming. Most attendees default to talking to the people that they already know, not because they're antisocial, but because cold networking is hard. When your app surfaces the 5 people this specific attendee should actually meet, based on goals, interests, and profile data, you're giving them a personalized path through that overwhelm. That is autonomy. Not a free-for-all, not a forced pairing, a curated starting point that feels like their own. Session pairing takes that same logic into the program. Instead of arriving and hoping the agenda is relevant, The app has already built them a personalized schedule. Session attendance goes up, drift goes down. And your sponsors running workshop tracks get surfaced to exactly the right people, not just whoever happened to wander in. Personalized city guides extend it even further. If attendees are traveling in, your app should help them navigate the city, restaurants, bars, transportation, landmarks. An app people actually use is real estate. Use it for sponsor integration. The fourth lever is status. Not vanity, status. And there's a difference. Vanity is wanting to be seen. Status is wanting to matter, to be recognized for something. And events are one of the environments where status is most actively sought. The planners who understand that can use it commercially. Badges and leaderboards aren't just gamification, they're status signals. When an attendee earns top connector or cracks the top 10 on a leaderboard, they're telling the room something about themselves. That signal has real social value to them, which means they'll work for it. Virtual mentorship sessions run on status from the other direction. Small group access to an industry leader is inherently exclusive. Not everyone gets it. That exclusivity is the whole point, and exactly why it belongs in a premium tier or a sponsor underwritten program. The speakers that you're already flying in are sitting on expertise most of your attendees would pay separately just to access. Stop leaving that on the table. Virtual photo booths connect status to memory. A dedicated in-app space where attendees can upload and share event photos does one specific thing. It makes people feel like they were part of something worth documenting. Add a sponsor frame or branded filter and you've turned attendee behavior into a distribution channel. They're doing the legwork because it serves them. The fifth lever is friction removal. This one is less about motivation and more about what quietly kills it. Friction is invisible until it isn't. An attendee who can't find the right session, can't get a question answered fast, can't figure out which exhibitor is worth their time, that attendee mentally checks out. And once someone checks out of an event, you almost never get them back. Chatbots live here. Not glamorous, not a headline feature, but an attendee who gets an instant answer to a basic logistics question stays in the experience. They don't step outside to Google it. They don't get frustrated and go back to their hotel room. The commercial case is simple. Friction removal increases dwell time, and dwell time is what every other feature in your app depends on. AR experiences remove a different kind of friction, the friction of imagination. If a sponsor's product is complex or physically impossible to bring to a booth, AR gives them a way to actually show it. Interactive product tours, virtual environments, even overlay on physical signage. These are the things attendees photograph and share. Sponsor and exhibitor showcases apply the same principle at the program level. A dedicated session with live demos and real-time Q&A removes the friction of the cold booth visit. An attendee who chooses to attend a showcase is already a warm lead. If you're not packaging that as a premium tier, you're undervaluing it. Now here's how to actually use this. Your event app isn't a list of features, it's a psychological environment. Every mechanic you build is either reinforcing a behavior you want or leaving one to chance. Variable reward drives traffic and activity. Belonging drives loyalty and word of mouth. Autonomy drives satisfaction and return intent. Status drives aspiration and tier value. And friction removal drives dwell time and everything that depends on it. You don't need all five at once. Pick the 2 or 3 that map to your next event's commercial goals. Build the features that pull those levers. And when you're presenting to sponsors, describe the behavior the tools create. That's the conversation that holds up at renewal. Head to eventify.io for a free demo and subscribe to the Eventify YouTube channel so you never miss an episode. Thanks, and I'll see you on the next one.